Broads Media.
What is going on, everyone? Not the best. Not the best. We'll talk about it. If you are new to the channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button down below. I want to thank you guys so much for all the amazing support. And real quickly, if you're looking to go to the Sixers game on Saturday night at the Wells Fargo Center against the Warriors, you can utilize the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off. That eliminates your fees. Now, it's not just that game in particular. It's any game, any team, any city. So if you're looking to go to any NFL, NHL, NBA games in general, promo code BROAD, SeatGeek's checkout, $20. Take it right from my hands. You'd be silly not to. And lastly, TikTok at Broads Media. We're doing some fun things. Check it out. With that all being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. Well, that's not what I wanted to see. The Sixers just got outclassed tonight. The offensive rebounds by the Jazz were sickening. They knocked down all their threes, it seemed, while the Sixers couldn't buy one. The Sixers only made 6 3-pointers throughout the entire game. I watched Matisse Thybulle take 5 as an individual. Thybulle taking 5 should never happen when you look at it and see that ties the most from a teammate in this effort. It's just unacceptable. So with that, and I will say their pick and roll, when you think of the pick and roll by the Utah Jazz, they just executed at will and perfectly kind of got what they wanted. So, you know, there was an element in this game where, you know, where sometimes you just play 48 minutes and your team looked solid and they were just all on the same page on that night. I will tip my cap to the Jazz and say they were prepared. They battled very well. They executed what they wanted, and they won the basketball game. It just seemed like one of those nights for that specific team where you just tip your cap. With that said, though, I thought that there could have been areas where the Sixers were a little bit better that maybe could have changed how easy it was done and how easy it was completed for the Jazz. What do I mean by that? Allowing Donovan Mitchell to just walk up to the three-point line at will and take shots left and right. That's going to bite you in the ass. Now, sometimes you have a cold day shooting, and maybe you can live with that, but once you see the trajectory of what's happening here, maybe, you know, you try and elect to do something different instead of just giving that shot up and giving them that opportunity to knock down that three. I mean, you do have to be smarter at the same time. So it's a combination of both, right? You know, there is an element here of just, hey, they had it tonight. It was their night. They came into South Philadelphia and they thought, we're going to beat this team. We're going to expose them. And they did that because of their execution. At the same time, you know, I thought the Sixers just couldn't hang. Their role players weren't able to help. You lose Joel Embiid for a little bit of time because of the abdominal situation where he goes to the bench, back to the locker room, and you think, oh, no, please don't be anything too serious. He comes back, and when you're already down and you're down a massive amount, there's only so much you can do. I thought maybe it would be another Joel night because I tweeted during that first half, the first quarter, I should say. He comes out, he scores 11 points, and I think to myself, he's back, baby. Joel Embiid's back. He's grooving. And then the offense elected to go in a different direction, not utilize Joel Embiid the same way. And then, of course, he ends up getting banged up. So that definitely did not help. And you could hear him after the game talk about how, you know, when it comes to breathing, when it comes to running up and down the floor, if you're holding that rib area, yeah, there's going to be an impact on your style of play and on your ability to be as much of a force as you need to be when that is the case and when that's the circumstances that was out there. Now, I know this isn't his fault. And I'm not telling you that I want the alternative, because the alternative is not having a special talent like Joel Embiid on your roster. So let's be clear. I'm not saying I don't want Joel Embiid. I am going to acknowledge, though, that I do get sick and tired. And it's not his fault that something like this happens or any injuries happen. But, you know, it's just part of the Joel Embiid experience to this point where it's nonstop. It's always something new. He's got the gas issues. He's got this. He's got that. He's got the knee. He's got the abdominal. He's got sickness. He's got this. He's got that. You know what I mean? It's like always something, and there's nothing I can do about it. I want Joel Embiid on this roster. I want Joel Embiid on this roster. I want Joel Embiid on this roster. I'm just stating the facts that sometimes I do get annoyed and bothered because it's a, oh, here we go again moment. And if you're a dope and a moron out there that doesn't like Joel Embiid and you don't think that he's a talent that you want on your team, I don't understand that because of the injury. It's like, well, get him out of here, then. He's never available for you. Okay. All right. Yeah, the Sixers aren't getting rid of Joel Embiid, so you could just take that trash take and shove it right up your ass. How about that? More on this team and more on this game. You allow these 16 offensive rebounds. It can't happen. I'm watching Rudy Gobert grab 20 plus. I'm watching Hassan Whiteside get some boards as well, double digits. Combined, they had 31. And I watched Andre Drummond. I just gave him some praise over the last handful of games because he stepped into a nice role when he didn't have to start. They got exposed. The two big men today did not hold their end of the bargain against Rudy Gobert and against Hassan Whiteside. Now, I will say this. There tends to be an overreaction to this one game. This one game doesn't throw away the last 3 games. They won 3 games in a row. Well, the Hornets are awful and they don't have their players, so you should win. And it shouldn't have even went to overtime. It shouldn't have even been as close as what it was. So they're not really, truly that good, the Sixers, that is. They just, due to circumstances, were able to beat up on a team that wasn't available fully with LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, and some of their other players. Yes, that played a role, but the Sixers had to go through that pain as well, and they lost games due to that, and it's going to work out in their favor the other way around. But that doesn't knock what they were able to do, where Joel Embiid was closing out, being a stud, knocking down shots like he started out this game doing. Hitting some jumpers, too. And that's why I think to myself, this rib or the abdominal situation, if that wasn't the case, if that wasn't hindering him, he probably still could have stayed in motion and stayed into that rhythm. Although, you looked at the way they were kind of handling things throughout, and they went to their bench, and once they went to their bench, guys weren't able to keep up the pace, and that was problematic. I'm watching Furkan Korkmaz play too many minutes. He blows. He blows. I'm sick and tired of it. He sucks. Can we please stop? Please. He's bad. 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 I haven't heard a peep. Not a damn peep from those Furkan Korkmaz lovers. It's unbelievable. You're too hard on him, bro. You're too hard on him, bro. Oh, what's that? Yeah, he stinks. Now, I do have to say, because I've been harsh on Matisse Thybulle. He did have, well, he tried a floater. He missed. He got his own rebound. He had a nice alley-oop play. He had a couple buckets in this one early on. Hi, Michael Jordan, Matisse Thybulle. I believe it was Matisse Michael Jordan Thybulle that I tweeted out there during the game. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about seriousness and actually looking around and passing the basketball around to guys that should make some shots, you know, I don't want to see Matisse Thybulle take 5 3-pointers. The other team would take that any day of the week. Think about this. If you're the Sixers and Matisse Thybulle's on the other side and he's taking 5 threes, you know what you're doing? Great work, fellas. You'll take that all day, right? This guy will take that all day. Now, the growing side of me, hey, we want athletes to grow, says, hey, pull it. But it's funny because how many times now with Ben Simmons has it been, we just want you to take them. We don't want you to actually make it. That doesn't fly because then you get this. It doesn't fly. It's flawed logic. That's what it is. At the end of the day, it's flawed logic. But a lot of guys who are capable of making threes weren't able to. Danny Green was abysmal on that end. Now, Tobias Harris, he took 2 threes today. 2. One was in the first half, then the other was in the fourth quarter. You have to have the ability, and the one he made was nice. Bang, 3, boom, let's go. Tobias Harris, whether you hate him or not, whether you despise him or not, he's got to be taking more of those threes than Matisse Thybulle is. And somebody told me, bro, you have way too much expectations on Toby. No, I don't. He's a career, and he's been around the block for a long period of time. He's not new. I have plenty of data and statistics to dive into for Tobias Harris. He's a 37% career three-point shooter, shooting around 30% this year. So, yeah, there's more in the tank from the three-point percentage perspective by a large margin. Not a little, not a tiny. I'm not talking about the difference in 2%. I'm talking about the difference in 7%. That's extremely different. So, yes, I believe there's more in the tank from him. And don't forget, and this isn't a 76ers problem, as if they made this happen. It is a Sixers problem in terms of they're going to have to figure out a way to maneuver around it, but it's not their fault to begin with. They're playing $30 million less in the cap than everybody else. You can't pretend that doesn't matter. Now, it's not on Daryl Morey to just get random players that fulfill $30 million worth of contract, but isn't actually worth $30 million. Because you know what that is then? That's Tobias Harris. And is that what you want? You want to trade Ben Simmons for just another Tobias Harris? Because you don't. You'd be bitching and complaining about that player as well. Or the grouping of players. So you're not going to do that. You're playing $30 million less than everybody else. There's a reason why you look at this team and analyze them and say they need to do something. You think? You think, of course. But you don't just throw it away and just go get random people. That isn't worth something you value. And it's not worth something you believe that you can get for Ben Simmons. So the waiting game is the answer. The waiting game is the right way to do it. But I'm just saying, when you look at this team play and you go, they're missing something. Yeah, $30 million. Yes. Yes, they're missing something. We knew that. Right? We knew that. And it's comical to me where they lose tonight and then everything they just did is irrelevant. Oh, Joel, this guy's terrible. Oh, Joel, this guy's awful. What? The reaction on social media blows my mind. And that should be better than this. Don't even worry about it. Don't even look at it. But it's hard not to. All right, during the game, you're looking at what's happening. You're looking at the reaction. It's bonkers. They had a bad game tonight. They had a bad game. They're probably not on the level of the Utah Jazz right now. Joel Embiid's nicked up. When Joel Embiid goes out, what he got? And Andre Drummond, who we know can play for a long period of time. He'll get exposed, especially then against these two. So, yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, would I have liked Joel Embiid to... He started out real hot. Would I have liked him to continue that and put us on a 44-point pace? No doubt about it. Did I think Rudy Gobert made a statement at times? Now, yeah, unfortunately, I did. Not the prettiest in the world tonight. They got outmatched. Move on to the next game. When do they play next? Monday night? No, sorry, Saturday. Forgot about the Golden State game, which we know the Golden State's a better team. But you got Golden State, and then you got Monday night against the Grizzlies. Let's just see how they respond. Let's see how they play. You know, it's a lot of adversity right now. I'm watching Tyrese Maxey. I don't know how he came back into the game. When he hit his head hard. His head snapped back fully. I was nervous. And you could see he was dazed. He was a bit confused. And then he gets up and said, I'm good, I'm smiling. He went back to the locker room and came back out. I don't know, man. You watch that reaction underneath the basket, and that did not look good. Did he just black out for a minute there and then come back to life? I don't know how he got through those protocols, but I'll tell you what, when they showed his face when he was laying there, it was not a pretty sight. I was actually scared. There was a bit of me that, and this is the last thing I ever want to see in sports is, I don't know if anybody saw, but there was a hockey hit the other night, the Rangers versus the Blackhawks, and Trouba stepped up and knocked him out cold. You could see on the replay his eyes roll back into his head. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was horrible. Now, fortunately, we're getting news from the Blackhawks, and he seems to be trending in the right direction. But when I saw him hit his head, it's hard for me to not automatically think right about what happened the night or two previous to that. So how he came back and played, I mean, just wild. But I'm happy that he's okay. I'm happy that he's all right. But that was definitely a scary moment. And, yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something I ever want to see is somebody go down. So more on Tobias Harris, by the way. Last year, we were very I'm not going to say very happy, maybe very happy. I don't think it's outrageous to go very happy. We were very happy with his effort on the defensive end. There's times where, and I mentioned this last game, right? I brought up how the box score doesn't really tell me the full story of Tobias, and you look at his shooting percentage and how many points he had in the fourth quarter, but all around, when you watch his game, there was something that's just not right about it, and defensively, he was getting beat at times, and it did not sit right with me. I'm watching him again tonight, and there's times where he gets beat where it does not sit right with me. And I'm not anticipating Tobias Harris to ever be some elite defender, some amazing defender. But I've seen him, and I'm not talking about 5 years ago when he's in a different body form. I saw him last season provide more. Now, is it fair to say when you have a perimeter defender like Ben Simmons and you have that type of skill set out there on the floor, it helps the team defense overall, especially if a Matisse Thybulle's out there, then you have a Ben, a Thibault, a Joel, and now Tobias is out there. The team defense as a whole makes the individual defense look a little different. Absolutely, 1,000%, I could get behind that. But still, even with that lack of talent out there, even with that being on the D side, I still saw something last year out of Tobias just from an individual effort level that I'm just not seeing right now on that side of the floor. So I'll say it again, just overall game, I know that there's more in Toby. His team just, I don't know what they need to do. They got to work on some things. They got to work on the bench. They got to work on the rotation. And eventually, they're going to have to figure out what they're doing with that $30 million that's just hanging around, not playing. And yes, the Sixers have to do something about it, but they can't do something irrational and stupid. Because the same people that want to just get rid of Ben are the same ones that despise Tobias Harris because he's getting paid too much money. So what do you want to do? Bring in another Tobias Harris? What do you want to do? I'll bring in a couple guys that are just random guys. Danny Greens, Matisse Thybulles, where we can point out, well, this guy can't make any shots right now in Danny Green. And Matisse Thybulle doesn't bring any offense. You just be complaining. You gotta play this the way Daryl Morey's playing it. It doesn't settle in our stomachs very well. It's not easy to do. It's painful. But it's what's right long term. And before you know it, the trade deadline will be here. I don't even know if it's necessarily even going to happen this season. Part of me thinks there's a lot of drama and toxicness that's about to start rolling out in the next couple of weeks. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if this rolls into next offseason as well. And this fraud, this loser fraud, Ben Simmons getting fined just about $7 million. My guy is, I said my guy again. I did this last time. He's not my guy. I just used that phrase to describe a human being sometimes, but Ben Simmons is willing to just kick his feet up. You know what's funny? There was that report, I think I saw it today. I don't know if the report was from yesterday or whatnot, that Ben Simmons would be willing to play for Greg Popovich. I got a question, Ben. What happened to the mental health? What happened to the mental illness? It's no joke. Seriously, no joke. I take that very serious. No mental health issues when you can play for Greg Popovich. Becomes mental health issues when it's anything Sixers related. It's not mental health issues when you're going to practice at St. Joe's. He's complacent. That's what he is. He's complacent. As the player that he is right now, he's not willing to get any better. And it's very unfortunate. It is. It makes me sick. As a competitor, as a former athlete, where I had that drive. Now, ultimately, my skill level capped me out as an in and out of the lineup college hockey player who had to grind and barely sniff playing time. And I'm all right with that because I'm a locker room guy. I'm cool with being just a rotational in and out kind of guy. That's fine. You need those energy guys. You need those locker room guys. You need the guys that keep the room loose and dance in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I capped out at some point. But I still had that fire in me. It's embarrassing that this guy doesn't. It is. Truth be told, it is. We spend too much damn time over the last however many months. But every time a loss like this happens, the speculation comes back of what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They got to move. They got to move. They got to move. So after every loss, it just naturally kind of finds its way right back into the dialogue. We're going to take some anytime hotline calls.
First,
DeSimone Jewelers, you know they are A+. You know they are the best in the business. You know they work with you to get the best design at the most reasonable price you will find in the market. They're a family-owned business located in Haddonfield, New Jersey, previously in Jewelers Row. Will, Lou, Nick, Mike, they are the greatest people ever. I swear to God. They helped me out tremendously, hooked me up significantly with my fiance's engagement ring. You should have seen the look on her face when I went on one day, and I swear, it's not because she was like, damn, I'm stuck with this fool. No, it was the size of the bling. And if you knew how much they hooked me up, you'd be like, damn, I ain't going to any spot ever in my life. And I continue to go back to them, not only just for something as big as my engagement ring, obviously, that only happens once, but Christmas, birthdays, Valentine's Day, a random day throughout the week, just because I'm a good guy. They provide custom jewelry design, jewelry repairs, appraisals, diamond setting, watch repairs, and much more. DeSimoneJewelers.com is their website. The link is in the description down below, and you can tell them Bro sent you. They'll hook you up. They'll hook you up, I'm telling you. DeSimone Jewelers. All right. With that, let's go hear some phone calls. I am fascinated to hear the reaction. Disappointed in the loss. Just real quick before we do that, though, just to kind of like summarize my thoughts here. I thought the Jazz had one of those nights where it's like they kind of had it. They had the flow. The flow was in their possession tonight. We've seen it a billion times watching the Sixers play. Maybe not specifically this year, but since the Ben and Joel era happened, there's games where it's just, here we go, baby. You're cashing in shot. Remember what was it? Was it Christmas Day against the Milwaukee Bucks a couple of years ago? They knocked an obnoxious amount of threes down. It might have even been the piss poor year with Al Horford and all of them. I forget exactly what season it was. It was Christmas Day against the Bucks, and they hit an outrageous amount of threes. The ball was just theirs that night. It seemed to a degree the Jazz just kind of had their rhythm. While I can nitpick the way they allowed Donovan Mitchell to get some of his shots and the pick and roll and getting beat on the glass and the bench players not really performing well, it just seemed like one of those nights. And the combination of the Jazz being a better team. If I sit here today and ask you who's the better team, you're going to tell me the Jazz, as you should. Well, then this outcome, not that I'm satisfied with where the Sixers are, but I'm not dumb and naive either. I understand it's going to take a bit of time to fully not just get a grasp of these young players playing new roles now like Maxey and whatnot, but this Ben Simmons thing was always going to impact this team. Always. So because of that, my expectations are a little bit different, as is everybody else's. Which is why, yes, this season seems to be a little bit blah, but that also impacts my day-to-day type of screaming or reaction or feelings. Because I'm not dumb and I'm not silly. I comprehend that this Ben Simmons thing, yeah, it was going to play a difference maker in some of the outcomes in these efforts. It's not what I want, but I know that it was going to happen. And I'm willing to wait for the right compensation so we don't end up with just people. Because just people, they don't win a damn thing. All right, what's next? Or what's starting us off, I should say.
What's up, bro? Listen, I praised Embiid for like the last couple of days, but I'm about to go right back to my stance again, man. Like, listen, Rudy Gobert got 20 rebounds on this dude, man. And he just shoot too many jump shots when he play against somebody good. And when the pressure is on him, he just don't play good. He is no leader in our team. Like, every time somebody get the ball, he thinking that he got to get the ball. It's so crazy when I watch Embiid when he like got pressure on him. It's crazy to me. You know, like, he can't play team ball. I'm sorry. Like, Maxey's supposed to be doing so much more, or is it even it got to be Embiid or it got to be Doc Rivers, one or the other. Doc Rivers not coaching the team right, or Embiid is out there drawn.
What? I am baffled right now. I'm actually sick. So he has 3 really good games, and then he has this, and then all of a sudden those games don't matter anymore because, well, Rudy Gobert is one of the best defenders in the league, and he had a bad night. He had a tough night. He was clearly battling something, and now everything doesn't matter anymore. He's just selfish. I mean, you said so many foolish things out there as if the guy hasn't had some big nights, and that's what I kind of searched over here while you were talking. I got some big nights, friends. Some come to mind right off the top of my head. When he dropped 49 against the Atlanta Hawks, when he went up against the Boston Celtics over the years and had some big numbers. I mean, that's foolish. That's absolutely foolish. So here March 17th, 2019 against the Bucks. Okay, Giannis had 52, but Joel Embiid had 40, 15, 6 assists, 3 steals for the Sixers to clinch a playoff spot that season. Here you go. Here's the Celtics one. December 12, 2019. Embiid went for 38, 13, and 6. Huh. How about that? And this, oh yeah, this is, okay, it says this right here in this little post here. Remember when Charles Barkley, the TNT crew, would shred him and annihilate him and say that he's not that good, this and that, called him out? He responded that night, if you remember, and it was a big deal. Then there was another game against the Celtics here. Celtics were leading by 11 in the third quarter. Marcus Smart lost his composure, shoved Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid finished with 37. He scored 15 in the third quarter, grabbed 22 boards, and had a huge block on Kyrie Irving late in the fourth quarter as a memorable moment. I'm glad I pulled this up as you were talking. And then here's the Hawks game I was referencing. The February 24th, 2020. On 24 field goal attempts, my man dropped 49. He doesn't have big games. He doesn't come up. He had a big game. He didn't have the best game tonight. That's full. And let me ask you this, because one of your statements, and I'm paraphrasing here, but is he always needs to take the shot. He always needs the... What was Kobe's mentality? Now, I'm not telling you Joel Embiid is Kobe Bryant. Okay, I'm not telling you that. But you're acting as if, in this sport in basketball, give me the ball, I want the shot, when your other options are Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, Isaiah Joe. Yeah, him and Seth Curry have a good two-man game going. But he finds his teammates all the time. He kicks it out of the double team. He's not a perfect player. Yeah, sometimes he has poor possessions. And Rudy Gobert is the best defender in the league. He gets labeled it every year. Now, maybe you can have the argument Ben Simmons is more versatile. He's just a big man who kind of stands in his area. That's why teams stretch him out. And when teams stretch him out, he has a tougher time. The Sixers don't have a lot of personnel to play with right now to kind of dabble with a bunch of experiments. But he's arguably the best defender in the league, and Joel Embiid had a little bit of a tough time in this one. It's not the end of the world. It's not time to throw Joel Embiid in the trash because of it. So I don't understand that one. Now, I want to go back to February 24th, 2020, Sixers-Hawks. Just to look exactly at his 129. The Sixers scored 38 points in the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid had 49 and 14 in 36 minutes of play. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, I'm sorry. I just don't vibe with that one, man. I just don't vibe with that. I don't understand how you analyze the sport of basketball and somehow, some way, the reason right now with the Sixers is Joel Embiid. Now, he needs to be a great player for this team based off of being $30 million less than everybody else. The margin of error is very small. But at the end of the day, like, are we putting all that on Joel? Or are we going to look at the legitimate circumstances surrounding this team right now and kind of breathe a little bit? Because to demand Joel Embiid to carry the team $30 million less against some of these other opponents, your expectations are just fully off. He needs help. The center position needs help. But that doesn't mean having the first or second best center in the entire league is a bad thing. What center would you rather have? It's kind of foolish. It's not kind of, it is.
Hey, what's going on, bro? It's big time listener of the show. Really a big fan of you, man. Keep up the good work. Just wanted to say, man, I really had a hard time watching this game. Even though we were somewhat in it towards the end of the third quarter, I don't really feel like we were in it. I haven't had any excitement about watching this team the past couple games, and it's getting to the point where, I just feel like big changes need to be made. I don't know, bro. Just let me know what you think, man. But,
well, the big changes is obviously flirting around one guy, right? I mean, if we're talking about making changes, it comes down to one guy. And thank you so much for all the kind words. And even the first caller, look, I stress this a lot, and I just want to make it very clear because clearly I'm screaming and whatnot. It's sports opinion, right? Like, I don't go to sleep at night and I lose sleep on people's sports opinions. Now, it drives me crazy and it drives me nuts when you're targeting Joel Embiid that way because it's silly. But at the end of the day, I appreciate you listening. I love the support. Thank you for calling in, right? Like, it's like a respect battle. It's like in the NFL. I want to kill you with your head down. At the end of the game, you dap each other up. This is us screaming at one another, and then at the end we dap each other up and give each other a big hug. So I just want to make that clear with me pouring my emotion out during some of these calls. Like if you spend the time to call in after watching these games and I yell at you and I call you an idiot and a dope, I love you. I just want to make that clear. But going back to your kind words, thank you. And then with this team, yeah, I think a lot of Sixers fans right now are in that same category of watching this team, and it's because of the big black cloud. And it's not on Morey to just get rid of that cloud by doing something stupid. He gets rid of that cloud by doing something smart. So if that cloud lasts longer to get that smart result, then so be it. And that's the right way to go about things. And I think Tobias Harris is the perfect way. Whether it's a couple of players or one player, just think about Tobias Harris being overpaid. You getting rid of Ben for other pieces that get paid a lot of money, this and that, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it if it's just for random guys. And you're probably the same people, I'm talking generally now, the same people that despise Tobias are the same people that want to just get rid of Ben for anything. And that's what you're going to be getting, something like Tobias. That's not smart. That would be dumb. So to answer your question, and I guess it wasn't even a question, but your statement about a big move, yeah, it's Ben. And unfortunately, it might not be as simple as we want it to be. We'll see what happens as the deadline kind of plays its way out and things start getting a little bit more heated in this drama world that we live in the NBA. So I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out and listening tonight. We have Sixers, Warriors at the Wells Fargo Center Saturday. Can't wait for it. Can't wait to see how this team kind of bounces back from this one. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you next time.